Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cat's Track. We post an interview with an amazing Canadian each weekday for your daily inspiration. Today, I would like to introduce you to my friend, Phil Alle. Phil was born and raised in our amazing city, Calgary. He tells me that his biggest motivation comes from his father, Dave Alle, and his devotion to keep their family business going, Reggin Industries, afloat for 27 years. Reggin Industries adapts when crisis hits. In the mid-90s, they've pivoted from food service construction to a full steel architectural firm due to entrance into the Western market by subsidized Quebec firms. Almost 30 years later, COVID-19 hit and put strain and uncertainty in the construction industry, which led to the formation of Teser Technologies. Creating UVC sterilization chambers gives Reggin Industries a new manufacturing alley to keep employees employed and contribute to the fight against COVID-19. So cool. What a great success story. Besides Phil's loved ones, he's very passionate about being outdoors, especially snowboarding in the mountains. Many people complain about our harsh winters. Not Phil. He loves it. He loves Calgary and living so close to the world's best ski hills. So true. Oh my gosh, Phil, you're right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it and happy to be on.
I look forward to our conversation. Are you ready for the questions that we sent you?
I am, yeah.
Excellent. So the first one being, what's been your greatest challenge since this whole situation?
I think on a personal level, it's definitely been the juggling of two companies. So that's making sure that the first company is still able to run. Obviously, I think anybody else who's been either a business owner or a manager or anything like that knows the added stress that the COVID situation has added as well. So whether that's dealing with what's the best way to keep our staff safe, what's the best way to protect them, what's the best policies to make sure that they're not coming in if they've got symptoms. As a manufacturing and construction company, we didn't have the fortune to be able to just put everybody at home. Obviously, I can't send stainless steel guardrails at home with the welders. Well, we have to work here. So trying to find a way to keep those people safe and everything that brings on at the same time that we try to take on our new venture, something that we had never done before. And we did that with a partnership with another Calgary company here, Technology, and then partnered with a ton of other Alberta institutions like the Alberta Innovates Fund, Initech Alberta, the University of Alberta, and then McGill University from Quebec as well, to develop this unit, as well as build a new company up from the ground in just a few short months. So the juggling of trying to do two at once was definitely my greatest personal challenge. For the company, it's definitely, I speak for obviously for us, but I know we've talked about it, is wanting to get the unit out there. We know we have the ability to make it work. We know it can kill COVID. We've tested it at the University of Alberta on the live COVID virus, as well as a ton of other viruses. But it's just getting proper regulations, certifications, and things like that. So anytime you build any sort of electronic, it's got to go through CSA regulation before you can sell it here in Canada. So the impatience of wanting to make a big difference is an additional challenge as a company we faced.
Can't imagine, Phil. I'm so proud of you guys. How many employees do you have?
So at Reggin, we're over 50 employees. Managed to keep almost the entire staff on. And then at Teser, we're just going into our scale up now. So we're still pretty small, just under 10. But that's because we haven't hired the full production lines yet. As of right now, we've used the Reggin Industries staff to build the products. But for the full production lines that are going to be starting later in September, we're going to be bringing on new staff for that, as well as additional designers and engineers to work on our next units. Possibly some smaller ones and then some custom application ones that we've spoken to some large companies about.
That's awesome. So to be able to have your employees pivot, that would have been wonderful for them and their families to stay employed through all this.
Yeah, that's the the driving factor behind it. I definitely look at it from two ways, and one is to help wherever we can. Whether that's you stop the spread, you help the economy, or you stop the spread, you help save lives. That's huge. That's the one pillar Teser's built on, and the other one is definitely keeping people employed. I'm a very, very proud Albertan, very proud Calgarian, and to see what this province has gone through the last 5 years has been difficult. And those are also the 5 years that I started transitioning into running this company. A couple years under my father's tutelage, and then the last 2.5 years running it by myself. And they've been tough years. The economy is not great here, so I grew up around this company. I'm pretty proud that we've got employees that have been here for over 25 years. Been here for the full time with my father, and we had one retired 2 years ago. He'd been with us for 42 years because he was the previous iteration of Reggin as well. So his entire time in Canada, he worked for Reggin, and those are the stories that I appreciate, that I grew up with. And like I said, my biggest motivation is my father and what he was able to do to keep hundreds of people employed over those years. And it's important to me that I can do that. So I'm going to work 24 hours a day if it means that I can keep our staff going. So.
Wow. Oh my gosh. My heart is very warm knowing that. You're a very cool person.
Okay.
Have you won the top 40 under 40 yet?
No, I didn't get top 30 under 30.
Top 30. Oh my gosh.
So it's my goal to see if I couldn't get it to at least Alberta's top 40 under 40. I've got 9 years left. So
you deserve it. Wow. Way to go. And what are the 3 things that you want to share with us today?
I think an explanation of what that unit can do in different ways. Definitely just to continue getting our story out there. So if anyone wants to see it, it's on teser.ca, teser.ca. And the units, our first ones are built to be very versatile. We're using 2 in our plant here. And the main use that we're using them for is PPE cleaning, so the guys to be able to clean their mask at any point in the day. I think the WHO has put it out there is that, mask wearing is great as long as your mask is clean, but that's hard to keep clean throughout the day because you're constantly touching it, anything like that. So we're looking to, one, reduce the costs of reusable masks, disposable masks, because you can keep cleaning them and reusing them for 10, 20 times. And then the cloth masks is still creating a quick and easy way in the company to clean those. So making sure that the chances that you've picked it up anywhere and then you're putting it on your face are diminished there. And then we're also using it for packages as it comes in the door, anything like that. I know I've seen a few of ours, again, being a manufacturing plant, we have a lot of different supplier stuff coming in through the doors and things like that. And there's definitely been some outbreaks at the FedEx and the Purelators. You'll notice sometimes your package just doesn't show up for an extra week, and it's because it's got installed somewhere along the supply chain. So just bringing that extra level of protection, we're treating everybody here like family, and if we can all pull together to get through this with 0 cases is the biggest thing for us. So to not have it come in on any sort of packages is important. I think the other thing is probably more on a personal side is, I talked about it before, the Alberta pride that I have and the sadness that I've seen, just in the kicks that this province keeps getting in terms of unemployment rates, vacancy rates. Working in the construction industry, I'm very tied into those downtown office towers vacancy rates. And when you look at the reality of it's so much higher than the 25 or 27% posted, because there's companies that are just paying for empty floors. It's tough to see. But I really want to get that message out there to whether it's the rest of Canada, whether it's the rest of the world, is we're not just an oil and gas province. Like if you get some of the brightest minds across this province together, and I'm not saying I'm one of the brightest minds, but I am, been blessed with the ability to pull together a team of I think we've got over 10 PhDs working on the engineering of this design between the two universities and Initech labs. So I've wrangled the brightest minds together, I feel, anyways. So and what we can do with that Western work ethic and what it brings around, and really just wanting to show that to the rest of Canada, and I mean even sometimes our own government, that you can continue to invest in tech here in Alberta and create new industries around that as well. And I think what that means to me is kind of the third thing too, is that, and maybe this was my answer for the next question, so I might have to come up with another one, but
That's okay.
Is that to have, whether it's our country or specifically our provincial government, look at this, and in no way do I not think that the crisis is horrible. I mean, the loss of life around the world, what it's done to world economies, and people who have lost their jobs. I'm not saying that in any way it's a good thing, but to look at it as the opportunity it also presents. And it was one of the things that I decided back on March when I sat with the guys here in our office when we decided to take on this venture. Is we have never seen a bigger crisis in terms of an economic crisis as this in our lifetime. The biggest shift, probably before this was World War II in terms of what it did on a global scale. And the new industries that are going to come out of that, or the shift in the industries, especially in tech, video communications, and things you haven't seen. And then the sanitization industry, which is what we're obviously going after, is finding ways to stop the next pandemic and help get this one over with. There's just huge opportunities there, and I'd love to see the people of Alberta support that and show that through the government as well. Take advantage of it. We know that oil, or fossil fuels and everything, it's a battle with climate change and everything that we need to be cognizant of, is that it's going to come to an end, and this province can't die with the end of fossil fuels. So we need to support the industries that are going to take us, in the next 100 years into the future.
I love it. Thank you, Phil. Wow. They're words of wisdom. Love it. You're a true Albertan.
Very proud Albertan, yeah.
I love it. I love it. Any final thoughts with the good news story, legacy story, or anything you wish to close with?
I think, I spoke about, how you can see it, the loss of the economic impact, loss of life, and things like that. So we actually just got back from Ecuador. I just got out of quarantine 2 weeks ago. So we were able to go down there, which was quite an experience. Obviously, being able to travel during a pandemic wasn't the way that I thought I'd go to South America for the first time. But they had it pretty rough down there. Initially, I think it hit the coastal city of Guayaquil, and they had mass graves because they couldn't handle it. They don't have the health infrastructure that we do here in terms of being able to handle that, as well as, I think, we got the warning shot from Italy, and I think we clamped down at the right time. We never saw that spike like you did in Italy or New York. It saved thousands of Canadians' lives. But the pure economic impact of living in a country that doesn't have the maybe money or the credit to support people through that. So, I'm a proud Albertan, but I am still a very proud Canadian too. And, as this rolled through, there's no other country that I would have rather, had to go through this, and to be appreciative of that. But on the other side, I implore every Canadian out there, as long as we're doing okay here, we can still turn our efforts and our help to the other countries. So we're pretty proud as a company to be looking at the South American epicenter down there in the outbreak, what we can do in those countries. And as a company, we're going to continue to chase wherever the impact can be greatest with our technology to help save lives. And that's what's important to us.
Well, I love it. This is Nobel Prize stuff, my friend.
Oh, thank you. I'll go for the 40 under 40 first, and then we'll talk about Like I said, it's I don't believe I'm one of the brightest minds, but I've been afforded the opportunity to bring some of the brightest minds in Alberta together to really create this, and I'm very excited about it.
Humble and modest leadership. Well done. Thank you so much for joining us, Phil. I know you're extremely busy. Keep up the good work and saving all the lives that you are. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Catherine.
Thank you. Everyone, that was my friend Phil Alle. Check them out. Spread the good word. Let's save some lives together. Thanks so much for joining us on Cat's Track, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.